Good morning. Good morning, distinguished friends and colleagues all. Good morning, graduates. You know, I so enjoyed the principal's report, but I have to say, Principal, when that I would have to do as you say and not as you do, because you said you were going to be brief, and I thought, okay, it's good. I can just follow her and be brief. And then, blessedly, we were not as brief, but we heard so much that was so important. And so I'm going to take a cue from you and focus on the content and not so much on the revenue, but I think I will still do. I am so thrilled to be here with you this morning. Normally, I would have had an opportunity to have a little chat with young people before they went to write the exam. We had a wonderful class last year, and it was more a learning experience to me than I think it was a learning experience for them. This year, there are always many things that schools are managing, and so it wasn't every school that I was able to have that kind of conversation. But I'm so pleased to have been asked to be here to have a bit of a conversation with you this morning. A very wise and dear friend cautioned me on the way here about making political statements. And I always say to people, I am not in the business of politics. The business of politics is relevant to my life as a writer. I'm in the business of development. And I'm in the business of partnership with communities, with schools like Thorne, and with the young people that you are doing such important work of preparing for their life as they live them, and preparing them for their future life and the future that they want to create. As I look around this auditorium this morning, and as I reflect on the many graduations that I've been a part of so far, and that Tom and I were just saying that we have another one this week from within our catchment area. But as I reflect on these graduations and the amount of efforts that have gone in, not just to this day, but to the work of raising a generation. Parents, teachers, support staff, what you are doing is raising a generation, building a nation. And all of you graduates are a part of that nation today. You know, I was with George Lyman School last week at their graduation. And one of the things that I shared with them was that we are in the habit of asking you young people what you want to be when you grow up. And we wait to hear mechanic, bank manager, accountant. We wait to hear a profession. And more I think that perhaps you should want to hear some characteristics. You should want to hear some contributions that you want to make to your community and to your country and to your region. I think we focus on having people figure out a job. But I think one of the more important things is to figure out what is it that you would like people to say about you for having known you? How is it that you would like to make people feel for having been in your company? What really is the impact that you want to have, and what is the life that you want to live? And also when I ask people about what the life is that they want to live, I mean that in the most basic of ways. What is it that you want to see when you open your eyes in the morning? What are the kinds of things you want to do every day to give yourself joy and peace? What are the kinds of things you want to do every day to help your neighbor, your family, your community, and your country? So when I think of what you want to be, and think more of how you want to live, and how would you like to make people feel. And I think that is a perhaps more important consideration, because that will help guide your choices. I think one of the other things that we have to take some care about is how we go about raising this generation in this academic context that we call the school. I read something the other day that showed that mathematicians are better mathematicians when they are also musicians. And they went across a range of disciplines and showed how things like music and sport and even things like crochet and all of these activities actually start to develop some of these other skills that you need in order to be not just more effective at your job, but to be more active in your work and to be able to bring that peace with you everywhere you go. And so I think one of the things that's important for us as we raise the generation is to set aside some of the ideas that we've had about who we are raising and why, and what is the purpose of education. For me, I feel that the purpose of education is to help people make choices that will serve them. And that is not just with respect to work, that is at your home, that is when you're walking on the street, that is at your church, or whatever is your faith-based institution, that is in your next school, which is going to be a very exciting place, and it holds a lot of opportunity for you. But further to that, as I reflect on these graduations that I've been a part of, including and especially this one, whoever had the responsibility for decorating this auditorium has done an amazing job. So let's give them a round of applause. But it's not just the decoration, which is the physical manifestation of the work and of the intent, but it's also all that we've heard from the principal today about all of the different inputs that have been made by teachers and parents and other staff in order to get us to this day today. And I reflect, not from a political perspective, but from a development perspective, on how we do this physical education. Barbados often boasts about our literacy. More and more we are realizing that that measure that we have used perhaps does not serve us as well. And what we need to focus more on is the idea of functional literacy. Are we learning the things that we need in order to be successful people? Are we learning the things that we need in order to treat each other with kindness and to be of service to our community? Are we learning the things that we need in order to determine what is fact from fiction? In order to make this judgment about all of the information that we receive. We receive lots of information every day. How many of you graduates have your own cell phones? All of them. Oh wow. Oh wow. That is a lot. And thanks for that. You can take your hand home. And on those phones, on the various apps that you use, you get a lot of information, right? Yeah? There's a lot to read, there's a lot to watch, there are a lot of games to play. And you have to determine whether what is on your phone, whether that link that somebody sent to you, makes sense to you. You have to be bold enough and courageous enough to be able to know what is your truth, so that you can tell what is the truth. And so one of the things that we're preparing our people for is discernment. We are trying to raise a nation of people who are discerning, so that we don't simply believe everything that we hear. You know, I have a practice, I will tell you, of not engaging in gossip. And sometimes we don't recognize what gossip is. People will come and say, well, they will relate a story to us. And I will say to them, oh, is that so? Were you there? And they'll say, I wasn't there, but somebody told me this. And I will say, is this somebody that you trust with impunity? And they will say, no, it's just somebody that I know. But they told me this. And they have left that exchange with an idea of this person that the story is being told about. And they 100% believe this thing. And believe it so much that they are deciding to share it with another party. I'm challenging us all today to use the test of whether something is useful before we pass it on. Do you know it to be true? Do you know it to be true? In order for you to know it to be true, there has to be some objective test. There has to be some evidence that this thing is true. And even if you set that aside, is this information useful to me, to my friends, to the community? Is it something that is going to edify us? Is it something that is going to help us make good decisions? So we are raising a nation, a generation, that has to be discerning. It's not just about this idea of a 97 or 98% literacy rate. I am not sure these days how that is measured, but I would submit that we need another measure of whether our education, our learning environment is working for our young people and working for our nation. In the spirit of gravity that the principal set the tone for, I want to just share two other points with you. One is that we are called to reflect upon the system that we use for learning and teaching our young people. And when I listen to the principal, and when I hear all of the ways in which the PTA and you parents have collaborated with the teachers to make sure that you create the best learning environment for these young learners, I am encouraged by that. And why? I think so much of what we need to address can be done in the context of a learning compact that parents are a part of. That teachers, parents, the wider community, I know that this church and this pastor serve as one of the institutions in the community, not located physically in the community, but in and of the community, and we need more churches and other institutions to play that very practical role of not just sharing the gospel, but showing the gospel. And this church, to me, is a wonderful example of that. But I think that learning compact has to look at the role of teachers, the role of parents, the role of school monitors and school meals workers and everyone else who's helping to raise our children, and the role of the community and how do we work together, not just for a conversational right, but a conversation about all of our responsibilities. And I listened to what obtained here with Thorne, and I see that is already in training, that spirit of a learning compact where we are all responsible for raising these young people. My final thought that I want to share with you graduates, I think that this notion of boldness and courage is one that people are realizing is what is required for now. And I'll tell you why I say that. On Saturday evening, I had the immense pleasure to give the teacher address at Thorne Memorial Secondary School's graduation. And the theme contained the word bold and contained the word courage. It also contained the word confidence. And I think that you here have selected that theme and others have selected that theme because we realize that gradually, this is your Barbados. No, not the future. Who agrees with me? This is your Barbados. Now, look at it this way. We talk so much about children being the future leadership later. How many of you are leaders in your track club or in your scouts or in any other association that you're part of? How many of you are head girl, head boy, president of your associations? How many of you are responsible for getting everybody back in class after the bell rings and these kinds of things? Well, good. That means everybody will be back in class outside after the bell rings. I ask all these things because I want to emphasize that what your motto shows is that we all understand that leadership today calls us to be bold and to be courageous. But as your principal said, that courage, that boldness, that confidence is not about who can make the most noise. It is about who can influence others through your own actions. That's what leadership is. It's about how you can show how you make good choices for you and for the rest of your community. When you move on to your schools, you will have a brand new opportunity to create yourself anew. You will have a brand new opportunity to take the you that your parents and teachers and others at Thorne helped to craft, but also to create a new you, to have new friendships, to start new activities, and to be an example to some of the others around you. The issues that we have in Barbados today, in the region today, are yours to help solve. Some of the things that we are trying to figure out, we will not, by the end of my time and your teacher's time and your pastor's time, we will not have figured out by the end of our time. And I know that already among you are some wonderful ideas, from science to mathematics to engineering, to health, some wonderful ideas for how to make Barbados better. Who has ideas for how to make Barbados better? And some more are coming. So, my final words I want to leave with you, graduates, are these. We support all of the ideas for progress and for community that you have. We as adults commit together to invest and continue to invest in those ideas. So when you have them, share them. Share them with your parents, share them with your teachers. Work together to see how you can make them a reality. Because you do not have to wait. You do not have to wait to impact the world. You do not have to wait to impact the places that you live. You do not have to wait to turn your ideas into a reality. Your future is now. And as you work on those things now, you are also creating the future that you want for yourselves and the generations that come after you. So my simple message to you this morning is congratulations for reaching this point. Congratulations for all of the races that we've won, all of the matches that we've won, all of the competitions that we've won. There are many more to come, but through it all, remember that your boldness and your courage can be quiet and still be influential. And remember that the most bold thing that you can do, the most impactful thing that you can do, is be kind to those around you. And I'm sure that that will help you to make the choices that will continue to make you thrive and prepare you for the future. Thank you.
We surely embrace your words and some wisdom. as we embark upon the second stage in our educational journey. We thank you.